Holy shit.
Oh, hold on. Yeah,
Wow, way to go. Started with profanity, man. This was a family podcast. Nintendo wasn't gonna revolt.
I didn't know it started.
I literally said, hold on, we're going live.
I didn't hear. I heard you say, hold on, not going live.
Going live and hold on are the same thing in production.
Damn, well, I can curse more if you want.
No, not yet. I gotta make my 30. I gotta make my 30 seconds of ad money somehow. So, without further ado, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the last second, right as soon as you could literally do it before the game being out any more than it already is, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 launch podcast spectacular. I'm here not with Elcrest. Elcrest is, I think, off collecting VHS tapes of the Titanic. I think that's specifically what Elcrest said. But yeah. I'm also here with Ringo.
I thought it was looking for...
No, it was a code for Titanic tape hunting. But I am also here with WeTuber Ringo McRingoson. How's it going?
Hello, my name is Ringo McRingoson, according to, I'm a WeTuber. I play specifically in only Wii games, like Xenoblade Chronicles, and also Xenoblade Chronicles, and also Super Mario Galaxy, but not last, but certainly not least, DeBlob.
Ooh, not DeBlob 2, that's a hot take.
You know, I like DeBlob 1 better. It's more blobby.
Damn it. Right? Also joining me, famous DeBlob hater and Pogo Stan, Jack's Bag of Macca.
Why do I hate these things?
I think it was something about... I specifically recall you saying something about the radical left. I think you said the radical left really deterred you from DeBlob.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's true.
It's their use of colors. Like they just don't know shit about color theory.
No, they really don't.
The Super Saiyan color theory wheel video on Facebook? I don't know.
But yes, the Mac's here. What's up, Mac?
Hello. I had a really big hot dog earlier.
Literally, the silence you just had made it seem like you were like just unmuting from a really big burp.
Well, I unmuted from something else, but I did that burp. Nah.
I forgot. Yeah, before the show started, Mac was talking about doing fat bong rips, so he probably did one last big one before the stream started.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. That's a lot. That's a lot better than what I actually muted for.
So, We're here on the eve of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 almost being out worldwide, 2 days before legally. Yeah, I know, it's basically leaked for all the pirates out there. It's basically leaked for anyone who wants to buy it off eBay, but much like everyone else on the internet who's not pirating the game on a Steam Deck, I'm being a good boy. I am staying spoiler-free. I've paid attention to like reviews, but I've not watched reviews and stuff. So I kind of wanted to ask you, Mac, just because with Ringo, I'm assuming you're basically pulling an ostrich and just sticking your head in the sand and ignoring everything till you can play the game.
I have seen nothing since the first trailer.
Well, that's not true, because we've shown you stuff since then, but you probably like took like a Men in Black
minimal amount of things that I could have seen from trailer 1 to today.
So I'm curious, especially because in the time that we last recorded, which I think was 9 years ago, to now, like Mac, you've probably like eat, breathed, and sleep Xeno way more than I have. So like, how much of 3 have you been ingesting on the eve of the launch?
So I watched a couple of reviews, and by watched I mean really more listened. I feel like it's better to do. I feel like watching is like guaranteed. You're gonna get some kind of spoiler, maybe, but I think listening doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get spoiled. But I watched a couple of the reviews. I watched a couple of them. The only one that I actually like stopped watching / listening to was Nintendo Life's. Not because I feel like they spoiled something, but because what they were detailing felt a little too. I'd rather find out about this when the game when I play the game. But yeah, I've been paying attention. I've watched almost every trailer. I did not watch the last few. Basically, since the Direct, I haven't been watching any of the trailers they've put out.
Yeah, really, the Direct was the last one I watched. I didn't watch the launch trailer, or the final trailer, or whatever it was, and I kind of just, like, kept my... I even haven't been listening to the additional music they've been posting. Like, the music they've been posting, because I know, Ringo, you haven't, like, heard any of it, probably. The music in this game seems...
I did actually hear a snippet of the main battle theme.
Oh, okay.
I decided to give myself at least that.
10 o'clock. Sorry, I got... Mary literally came in, I was like thinking she was going to ask me something really serious, and she just had written down on her phone, what time does the ping pong room close? It's like, I was ready for any other question than that. I was like, okay, hold on, I'm prepped, I'm ready, let's go. But no, so, we're here, I'm excited. I will say this, the leaks haven't been as bad as I thought, but I did have to, like, manually tell my YouTube, hey, don't recommend to me anything Xenoblade 3 related, because, like, a couple days, like, before embargo, I was getting, like, do you want to see every character that you could unlock as a blah, blah, blah? Do you want to see every skill? Do you want to see every Ouroboros? Like, it was all this stuff. I'm like, no, why would anyone want to see this early? Like, all this, like, stupid stuff to leak. So, and thankfully nothing that I got spoiled from. Like, I at least haven't, knock on wood, had, like, those terrible ones of, like, the final boss! Like, here's ripped up Senator Armstrong Rex 20 years in the future fighting you.
Every final boss in the Xenoblade series, and then it's, like, four... Like, it's broken up into 4, like, squares, and then in the middle there's a circle with a new one.
Clearly, you've made a couple of these videos, I can tell. You have them queued up.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, so look, I guess first one I want to ask you guys, and by the way, anyone watching live, first, thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw them at us, and we'll answer them as we keep going. But I wanted to ask both of you, how do you feel, kind of going back to the leaked copies, not the physical ones? I mean, hey, if you wanted to spend $70 to get the game a week early, I would probably do that if I hadn't bought the collector's edition already. But, like, for the people who are already, like, downloading it and, like, playing it through emulators early, I gotta say, I don't know if, like, because we have not talked about this at all, I find that genuinely all over yucky. Like, how do you guys feel about that? The people who are, like, already, like, playing it on Switch emulators pre-launch. So, like, it's literally, like, at this point, there's no way you could have bought the game. So at that point, it is just piracy.
I mean, yeah, kind of an asshole move, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'd probably say, yeah, it's an asshole move to just do that. But, I mean, each their own, right? If they want to be assholes.
Mac, what about you?
Fuck 'em.
I mean, if I wouldn't do it because I'm just not huge into emulation, and I feel like I would rather play it legitimately. Like I'm someone who, if I can, I would like to play something on its original hardware.
Yeah.
So I would never do that, but as long as they're not going out and spoiling anything, I don't care really.
Yeah.
It's just not something I would do.
I'd say
I agree.
It's not a thing I'm commending, like, oh, you're evil if you do it. But I think, like, the bigger one for me kind of comes from if you're out there showing it off. Like, I feel like if you're out there, like, because I think many of us have, like, seen, like, the picture that was going around of, like, hey, I'm playing Xenoblade early on my, like, 4K Switch emulator, check it out. Like, that just kind of is like okay, you're being a dick because, like, most of us who are going to buy it are just waiting. So it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, you're showing off.
Yeah, you're just like showing.
Don't be a show off.
It's not like there's something
like,
you're learning
just
from
period, don't be a show off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're gonna be the guy who gets a game early and you show it off, I might as well just ask you to take a toothpick, put it under your big toenail, and just kick a door.
Shut the fuck. Just shut up. I don't want to think about that.
Now I have to think about it.
It's like that. It's like that. It's like that toe commercial everyone hates. I won't even say the name just in case it like gives somebody PTSD. But that one with like the toenail flipping up.
Yeah, that also as a child that messed
like
me
that,
up.
That one Spongebob episode.
Oh no, that's a different inner circle of hell.
But speaking of SpongeBob, I've been watching SpongeBob because I finished up with the DC animated universe and I needed something like
what a palate cleanser
to go through. So I was like,
One
you know
Piece.
what? I'm gonna watch all of SpongeBob. I already watched One Piece. I'm gonna watch all of SpongeBob, and because I only really watched so much of it, and then it got bad. And I've heard that past a certain point, the newer episodes are actually kind of good in their own way. So I was like, oh, I'm curious. So I'm watching. And I got past the movie, which is when things like really start to change. And it's like instant, you can feel it is different.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
It like almost immediately it starts to get like just a little bit grosser and Patrick gets a lot stupider. And that just kind of continues to where I am. I'm on like season 6 now, I think. I don't remember.
So you're like 1/8 done.
I am like, I can tell, like, okay, I'm pushing up against where I stopped watching.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I'm at the point where I stopped watching.
Okay. No, yeah. So as someone
There's some episodes where I'm like, oh, I don't really remember this, and then I'll be like, oh, wait, no, I do remember this.
So as someone who has watched I think I've pretty much watched like every episode of SpongeBob before. It definitely has that tipping off point, but I have enjoyed a lot more of the more modern stuff. But it is kind of all over the place there with it. But like I will say that's like a good like have it on in the background kind of like fun thing to watch. A little bit more so than the DC animated stuff, just in terms of paying attention and quality and different aspects like that. Now, I will say, because we do not need to talk about fucking cartoons, because then I'll get me on a tangent for too long. I gotta ask you, though, as part of your DC watch, did you also watch every Teen Titans Go episode?
No, because this was only DC animated universe.
Oh, the DCAU. Okay, so not just everything DC animated.
Not DCA, DCAU.
Please, I'm sorry.
And not DCAMU, but DCAU.
Oh god, too many, and
there's way too many. It's a headache.
Too many, and still not enough Henry Cavill for apparently anybody on the internet. But you know what Henry Cavill would approve of is the apparently surprising to people. Like I was surprised that people are surprised at how high Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is reviewing, because what's interesting about it is like Xenoblade Chronicles on its embargo day was like at a 90, and now after more reviews have dropped, it's at an 89. Definitive Edition is also at an 89, and the lowest one we have is Chronicles 2 is like at an 83. So like, were people like thinking like this wasn't going to be that high?
I think what it was is just kind of in general, like, people didn't fully, because like people don't really talk about the series as like reviewing highly, just more so people talking highly of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that's, you know, I feel like a lot of people kind of forget, is that Xenoblade 1, I believe, has like Xenoblade 1 on the Wii has like a Metacritic of like 90. X has like 84. 2 has the 83, like you said, and it's just like, no, this is a series that does review well, and I was kind of fully expecting 3 to also review well. I didn't expect it to be rivaling Xenoblade 1 on the Wii, but I was expecting it to review well.
Xenoblade X on Metacritic has an 84.
Suck it, Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
9.1 overall.
What does Torna have?
That's a good question. Let me look it up. Actually, while this is waiting, I got a question for you. Did you...
It is 80.
80?
Really?
8.6.
Technically, that is the lowest.
Well,
but it's
okay.
also in that weird space because it's DLC.
To be fair, it's the lowest, but it also has the least amount of reviews, which I think factors into that heavily, too.
Yeah, that's also a good point.
But no, one of the things I will say that I found the most interesting about Xenoblade Chronicle 3 reviews so far is that unless people are like doing completionist runs, because I do know that like Nintendo was very gracious and gave a lot of like leeway in terms of time to review this game, but
like a month and a week.
yeah. But the thing I was interested for this is like I've been hearing basically this game's campaign averages at around 100 hours, which I think is insane.
That's kind of what I've been hearing. Well, specifically, so because of certain connections I have, I had heard that it was, quote, equal in length to Xenoblade 1 and 2, which, to me, I beat those games in 80 hours. But I can imagine for other people, it would be around like 100 or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
What you're saying is, because of your connections, you knew ahead of everybody, therefore you were in the future and were connected.
Yes, I knew on Saturday. I was in the future and connected on Saturday.
Macca's future connected.
Four parallel universes ahead of you.
It all makes sense now. So this is weird. So actually, like, I'm actually more close to how long to beat time for Xenoblade 1 and 2. So Xenoblade 1 took me maybe 60 hours to beat, and that was with doing a lot of side quests. And Future Connected, I think I beat it like right under 10 hours. 2, I think took me around like 65 my first playthrough. So like I've never really thought of this as like a 100-hour plus game unless you were like doing all this, like everything with it. So like unless, like I said, like unless a lot of this stuff is kind of more drawn out or other things with it, I'd be really kind of curious about like how this game, like what makes it so long, how many different environments we really have with it. Because like one of the things I'm really curious about with Xenoblade 3 is, especially now, because I don't know, another bit of interesting things that they put out was Nintendo did a like interview with the people at Monolith and stuff, and
still need to read that.
It's very good. Like I think they're up to part 2 now, and part 3 comes out tomorrow. But one of the things they were talking about in the interview, and it was all spoiler free. One of the things they were talking about in the interview was like, "Hey, this is the end of like this trilogy, without calling it a trilogy, but there is still room for more Xenoblade Chronicles, like in that kind of sense with it." So like, I thought that was really interesting of being like, I wonder if part of it like being really long is just that thing of, okay, how can we really make this all fit? Also, Jagingus in the chat saying, Xenoblade 2 took me 35 hours. That is a speedrun ass playthrough. I cannot imagine that being your first playthrough.
How?
You know what it was? You know what it was?
Thanks, NL.
He pulled a Cosmo and just 5-starred every other run for the rest of Xenoblade 2.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
He's got that dream luck for pulling rare blades, I'm sure. Cosmos was his first blade.
But
it's Cosmos.
Cosmos, yes, please. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. I didn't realize it was Cosmos until I played it.
I mean, as we made a discovery today, apparently it's Reiki.
Oh. Yeah. I call him Riki, and I call him that because that's how they say it in British, and that kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Let's see though. So I will say, definitely check out those like interviews when you want. Like the one today was mostly on the music and other aspects for it. I will say, I don't know if it's just because I'm comparing this to a couple of other games Nintendo did recently. I feel like Nintendo has not pushed a game this hard since like Kirby or like something earlier this year. Like this feels bigger to me than like Three Hopes. This definitely feels bigger to me than like Mario like Strikers and stuff for it. It's like I'm wondering for you guys, like have you guys just been getting inundated with like marketing for it, or is it maybe just like weirdly targeted at me?
I haven't gotten too much. I've gotten more for Bayonetta 3 actually.
Really?
I have. And it's maybe because I've been completely avoiding Xenoblade stuff, where I haven't been as avoidative of Bayonetta. Like, I still am probably not going to look at any more on Bayonetta until the game comes out, but I'd say, like, just offhand, like, from going on Twitter, going on Facebook, going on YouTube, I've seen more Bayonetta stuff than Xenoblade 3 stuff. In terms of that stuff.
So I actually have YouTube Premium, so I don't get ads on YouTube videos anymore, so I haven't seen an ad for anything in a hot minute.
I really should get that. Be an asshole myself.
Yeah, I mean, I did do ad block, but then after a while, I was just like, it's fairly cheap, and not only that, but I use YouTube Music because I have a Pixel, and it just
Mac, have you seen the latest Red Letter Media video where they bring up YouTube Premium?
Yes.
Like, just get YouTube Premium. It's fucking 99 cents a year already. Jesus.
Yes. No. It's just straight up like, this is just screw it. Why not? Anyway, I don't get ads like that anymore. But on the few mobile games I play on my phone while I'm at work, because I just sit there and stare at people all day, and it gets really tiring, and you get so good at it that you don't need to literally stare at them. I picked up a few mobile games, mainly mobile games that don't have microtransactions, but rather they're just kind of loaded with ads.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Which I'm more willing to sit through. And I keep getting now those ads have essentially just become ads for Mario Strikers and Xenoblade 3.
Oh, weird. Like, take a
that and like the occasional like AMC Plus ad. And
take like a screenshot of those for me. That's so interesting. I have not gotten that at all. I will say this. I don't expect a TV ad, but if we ever did get one, and if it's on the same like nature as like super, like, do you guys remember the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 one with the giant axe?
Yes.
I would love something like that to like come back for like no reason at all. Mm-hmm. There is like a ad, like a YouTube designated ad. I think that's probably the one you've probably seen on your ones of like fight to survive, survive to fight is like the big kind of like one with it. And I'll be like, I'll say this. Something like, I don't know how you make something like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 something you could fit into like a 60 or 30 second ad, and then someone's gonna go, nailed it, I'm buying it. I feel like this is such a thing of like, you kind of have to know what you're getting into, because it is so much going on. But like, I will say this, I don't know if you guys have been looking at the Japanese sales numbers, this thing is fucking destroying in pre-orders.
I haven't looked too much into them, but I'm not surprised.
So, every Japanese retailer, it is currently the #1 most pre-ordered game, just in general. Not just on Switch, just in general, for right now. Which obviously makes more sense as we get closer to the release. But what's extra crazy is this week on the Nintendo eShop, if you look at the Japanese bestseller list, it is constantly in first or second place. And Mac, you'll appreciate this, it is just flip-flopping constantly, like every day it changes, between Xenoblade 3 and Live Alive. Like, they're both selling really well over there, which makes me happy. Which, by the way, Live Alive costs like $75 over there, and I mean, I know the like conversion's really bad right now, but I'm like, whew,
that's absolutely like, that's a lot, but also,
I mean, Xenoblade's like $100 over there too. To be fair,
yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I mean, I say this, but usually I'm like in the minority here. If Nintendo wanted to charge $100 for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the West, I would buy it. Like, this is a game that would justify a $100 price tag to me.
Didn't back in like the early 90s and like 80s, didn't video games actually have variable pricing to it?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
The prices actually
Atari cost like $130 at the time.
Standardized prices, most people actually thought started with PS1, but actually prices were fluctuating back then. Like, sports games would be $30, and like stuff like Crash Bandicoot would be like $40, and maybe like Gran Turismo or like Metal Gear might be like $50, or Final Fantasy. But PS2 is when it was the standard of everything's $50 and maybe a little bit cheaper, but most stuff always came out as $50. And then 360 brought it to $60, ironically, and now PS5 and Xbox, although Xbox, it's really rare to get a $70 game over there. I do gotta say, because with the Super Nintendo, it would be up there, because Chrono Trigger, I remember specifically, like holding it at a Toys R Us in the late 90s. Like, Chrono Trigger launched at like $89, I think.
Jeez.
But I mean, like,
Well,
if you look for inflation, it does kind of make sense, though. And, like, with how much, like, how expensive, like, the chipsets were for everything, it was never that thing that people were like, oh, man, this don't seem worth it to me. Because it was usually, like, they weren't trying to, like, sell you Fester's Quest for $70. Like, they were selling you, like, the games that were really pushing the hardware. So, like, at least that kind of made it feel a little bit more fair. But, like, what about for you two? Like, if we were living in a world where Nintendo didn't have to charge $60 in the West, like, what's the most that you would feel comfortable buying Xenoblade 3? Just the game, no special edition, just the game in a plastic box. Like, what would you guys buy it for day one?
Honestly, I would be fine with doing 100.
Yeah, I'd say 100 is probably where I'd go. But
it would be funny. It would be funny, like, imagine, like, because with people talking about Switch Sports getting updates and Mario Strikers getting updates recently, I saw somebody being like, yo, shout out to Xenoblade for coming out and being an actual complete game. And I'm like, damn, you're not wrong, though. Like, no one's gonna be like, dang, Nintendo, selling a season pass to your 150-hour game? Really?
I mean, there were some people, but it's nowhere near as loud. And it was for like a minute.
I think it was louder with Xenoblade 2.
They didn't know what happened last time.
Yeah, like I think with Xenoblade 2, it probably was a little more understanding to be like, a season pass is weird. Even Zelda. Like, I remember the Zelda, like, Breath of the Wild season pass was like such a like joke of a season pass. Because remember, the only thing you got at launch was the fucking Switch shirt. So it was like, what the fuck is the
got a couple other bonus chests, but like all they contained was worthless shit that wasn't the fucking Switch shirt, and then you got the Switch shirt.
Also, guys, don't forget that the fucking Rex costume is in Breath of the Wild. I constantly forget you can, like, dress Link up as Rex.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if for Breath of the Wild 2 they include a Noah outfit.
I was gonna say, I feel like if anything, Breath of the Wild 2 would have the Monado, because I feel like at that point they would just, like, I mean, expect.
Well, Monato's the most iconic thing, period.
Yeah.
For the series.
You can, you know,
and the Mechonis.
If you tap the Pyra and Mithra amiibo, you can change Zelda into Pyra and Mithra costume. That's what it is.
That would actually be fucking hysterical. That would actually be fucking hysterical.
But yeah, so like with Torna, I think it was that thing of like, especially because it's only $30. It's like, yeah, dude, like, Torna is easily worth 30 alone, 40 alone, like, if you want to just do the standalone thing for it. So, it is that kind of that funny thing of, like, there are certain games that, like, once you know the pedigree of that developer, like, it's like, yeah, like, you're probably not going to get screwed on, like, Xenoblade 3 at launch, let alone its post-launch content. Now, I will say, because I'm now going through it, I will say I'm finally getting to the DLC side quest in Xenoblade 2 because I've never played them until now. It is weird because I constantly forgot that there were like special quests like as DLC leading up to Torna. Like, did you guys ever play any of those?
Not those. I didn't actually do a ton of the DLC side quests.
Did you at least do the Shulk one?
Oh well, yeah, of course. I did
Okay.
I'm honestly, when it came to the DLC, not counting Torna, I was mainly into the challenge mode.
I have not touched the challenge mode. How was that?
Oh, challenge mode's great.
Yeah, I saw Elma and I was like, I'm in.
Oh man, I got so excited when they announced Elma.
Like that like the funny thing is, so when when Xenoblade Definitive Edition came out, I played through it with my friend and he absolutely loved it. You know, and he was like, "Damn, that's a really fucking good game. We should go through too." And I was like, "All right, sounds good." And we started playing, and we got to the Araya Titan, and you could access the challenge stuff. And I was like, "Oh, dude, there's this. You know, I can just plow through this to get Elma, and then we can play through the rest of the game with Elma." No. So after that happened, you know, I was like, "Yeah, we can get Elma, but you can't actually take her unless we play a New Game Plus." And he was like, "Well, time to start over. We're doing a New Game Plus. I don't give a shit anything about anybody." And so I played for my friend's first playthrough New Game Plus because Elma. And you know.
So I have a weird question for you guys. Speaking of actually Xeno 1 and 2, because I realized this since I finally went through Future Connected, and I'm trying to remember his name because there are not many like it. Dang it, you're probably gonna remember it for me. Who? Oh, Bana. So.
Yeah, Bana. Yeah.
He's not the same evil Nupon you find in Future Connected? Because I was like, what is the chance that they were both the same, like, evil... They're evil green Nupon in Xenoblade, but they're not the same.
Yeah, so I can explain. So essentially, do you know the deal with Bana? So Bana's actually...
in the base game.
Back to Xenoblade 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there is the side quest where he's basically the drug dealer.
Yes. And then he was like a fan favorite like side quest thing because it was like this long ass side quest chain. And then for 2, they were like, oh, let's just bring that concept back, but make it part of the main story. And then they were like, oh, we got to bring back the one from base 1 for Future Connected. So it's the same one the whole way through, except for 2 for obvious reasons.
It was just so funny to me when I was replaying it. Like, I had just completely forgotten they shared it, and because it was back to back, I was like, "There's no way these are connected." But it was like, like, do they even share the same name in the Japanese version?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I don't know why. Just talking about Xenoblade 2 for a second. I gotta ask you a question. This will be tough for maybe too, simply because I know you guys have both played and really enjoyed Torna. So, just on the subject of Jin, like, do you think the base game of Xenoblade 2 did him good enough to like where he was a captivating and villain? Excluding all the stuff from Torna.
I think so. But there were a couple of points where I just kind of rolled my eyes at like, oh, this is just really edgy,
cheesy edge stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel so. I feel like it was captivating enough.
Mm-hmm. Because like that was the one thing. It's like for me, like and my friend also like. Maybe it's a little different for my friend because again we were playing on a New Game Plus like stuff, and while I was trying to do side quests and stuff for him, it was mainly just like run through the plot kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Neither of us really got why everyone liked Jin. I like Malos a lot more than I like Jin.
Well, Malos is all in all a more interesting character in both games, I would at least say. But like, I'm trying to put myself more in the feet of when I play 2 before Torna, because obviously Torna brings a lot more kind of depth with it. I would say I walked away from 2 feeling overall like he was an interesting character, but he's definitely like he's like a third-rate person I think of. Like, he's good like at like doing his job, but he wasn't like super memorable, but enough that like it kept me interested to play Torna, and then Torna I think added a lot more context that overall made my memories of 2 better, if that makes any sense.
I've just been thinking about it. Like for me, it's just been like very recently, and it's gonna be a while because obviously Xenoblade 3 is coming out, right? Like for the past like couple of weeks, I've been really like, you know, I really want to kind of play through 2 again, simply just because like I want to try and see what everyone sees in Jin, because like I keep hearing very good praise for this character, and I'm just like I never caught on. Like I never really liked him.
It just never clicked.
Damn, Ringo, it's too bad you don't have a really short-form, good story based in the world of Xenoblade 2 that you've never experienced that might focus on Jin. If only there was some kind of game we could recommend you to play.
Only... No.
You know, something for like $30, maybe $40.
Hold on, I'll be more mad at... Do you at least own...
Maybe like 5 hours of?
Do you at least own Torna 2?
I've played 5 hours of it.
What bored you? Were you cooking too much? What happened?
I couldn't tell you. I got to the point where I met Hugo. Ish.
You were nowhere. You were nowhere.
Nowhere. But I put 5 hours into it. I beat the shit out of some lobsters. I saw a destroyed village.
Mac, I had a great.
You got nowhere.
Mac, I had a great cover.
Start until you get back to Torna.
Mac, I had a really great conversation. I thought you'd appreciate with Ozzy. Like when I was talking about replaying Xenoblade 1. I was like, hey, how far have you ever gotten in it? He's like, oh, I got pretty far. I think I was like halfway or so. And he hadn't even met Ricky yet. I was like, oh, dude, no. It's like, dude, you had a whole other continent to get to. Like, you are not even at the halfway point.
No.
I knew I was nowhere in the game despite also having 5 hours.
It's not that long though, dude. Like seriously, like I think if you just like
I know
if you, I mean, especially because we'll get to this probably with our next topic. Like we're not playing. Most of us, fucking Mac's probably going to be the only one actually playing Xenoblade 3 on Friday. So like you'll still have time to kill.
I am honestly kind of a little sad. I canceled my pre-order at a store. Like,
oh my god! I thought you were gonna say you canceled it from Nintendo, dude. I thought you were gonna say you fucking.
No chance. No.
Mac would. I would hope, Mac, that you would like murder him if he did that.
I would have killed you. I would have killed you.
Yeah, I didn't want it. Worthless to me.
Yeah, dude, I think the steelbook just looked pretty good.
A pre-order at at a store for the regular edition, and then then this week I found out it's like, oh, there's conflicting evidence that it's just you're not gonna fucking get the game on Friday. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
part of me was debating going back out to the store to try and get another copy just so I could play it on Friday.
Which, by the way, this is a good. Do you guys want to talk about the dumpster fire?
We have got to talk about the dumpster fire. I just started a poll in the live chat. Did you get the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition? So, since our last episode, we went from... By the way, Mac now can have the ultimate I told you so over me for of all time. Because I think I even said it on the show. When Nintendo said the Special Edition would be exclusive to the Nintendo store, I was like, dude, it's Nintendo. They're going to kill it. They're going to handle this so well. We're going to roll up there with our fat blunts and like we will be out of there within 5 minutes. They're going to be paying us. Like that's how good of an experience it's going to be for it. And that was not it. I feel like...
I didn't get it!
Well, I feel like we got to at least give the context. So I'll give the pre-example and then Mac, if you want to lay into it of like what the actual experience was like, and then we can give our... we can give all of our personal experiences. So, as you remember, it is a Nintendo Online exclusive. It's not sold at retailers. And the reason for this is because with the game getting swapped with Splatoon, the parts for the box, art book, and steelbook aren't going to be ready until September. So what Nintendo's basically doing is they're shipping you the game, only the game in July, and then they will send you in September or early fall the special edition box with all the other goodies and stuff. So hence, that's why it couldn't just go to another retailer, because it would be like a logistical nightmare. But that wasn't even the problem. It wasn't like, oh, the game getting split up is the problem. And remember, by the way, because like I feel like we literally didn't even know until like the week of pre-orders the first time. Like we didn't even know if we were going to have that split up, because originally it was just Japan had announced, hey, you're only getting the game in July. And then Europe said it, and then I feel like Nintendo of America literally was like, waited till the last day to announce that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so...
no, it was very last minute.
So Mac, let us know, what was the experience like early June? What was day 1 of 2 for pre-ordering?
So what I did... So what happened with me is it went live, and I got up on my computer and my desktop, and my phone, on my laptop, my desktop, and my phone, and I was trying to connect, but the website was not working because Nintendo was probably didn't expect it to be this popular of an item. So I struggle, and eventually I gotta go to work, so I just leave it on my phone. I bring my laptop, I reconnect, and eventually I get the page to load on my laptop, but I can never get it to actually add it to my cart. Now, at that time, there were some people who were saying they were able to get it, but then there were some reports of, like, apparently some people had their orders canceled. I don't know how many I don't know like what the deal was for that first day, if like some of the orders counted and others didn't or what. But it was a dumpster fire. And then Nintendo, they didn't tweet anything out. They didn't tweet out like status updates or anything. They just tweeted like 12 hours later, "Oh hey, sorry, we're gonna remove the ability to pre-order it, and we're gonna come back. We'll give you more details at a later date as to what we plan to do." So yeah, that's how that first day went, and I was annoyed because I was essentially at work. I was working the whole time. Thankfully, I have a job where I was able to do this, but I was at work, and I just kind of had my laptop open in the background, and I would just periodically check on it. And it was really frustrating. That's how that day went. Want to talk about the second day?
No. We gotta at least give the Ringo side of it as well as mine, because all three of us worked. We were all working that day, but because our jobs, like, also, can you imagine like the extra level of fuckery we would have if we had retail jobs?
Oh my god.
But like, so Ringo, from you as like, well, the only one of us who was like working from home that day, like how did that first day, like, kind of like, what were your memories of that?
That was just interesting. It was just like, again, like I could do everything from my laptop, right? My job is, in all honesty, pretty easy. Not to be like hashtag humble brag, but hashtag humble brag anyway. So basically what I did was I had on my main computer, I had on my phone, just it going, and I was doing my work, and every now and again I'd just look up and I'd be like, damn, still nothing, huh? All right. I get it. And I'd be chatting with you guys because we were in a chat for like 3 hours or so.
Yeah, and remember the rule. Like, we basically made a suicide pact for as soon as this fucker went live, none of us were allowed to buy it until there was a Discord call. Because it was like, we all knew Nintendo was not going to be like a normal company and just tell us, hey guys, 10 a.m., see you at the store. Because remember, even like the only heads up for both days, they just said, see you tomorrow. Like, if you didn't have $90 in your pocket waiting for you, you're just fucked. But
yeah.
But like, Ringo, for you, when did you give up on that first day? Because obviously, like, we weren't in the Discord call that whole time. Like, when did you eventually just say, okay, fuck this?
I think there was a specific thing. There was a specific kind of time I remember. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not happening. Pretty much, it was. I think I was also streaming that day, so like around the time that my friend and I usually watch anime right before I stream. So like it was around like 8 o'clock at night. You know, that was happening, and then I started the stream, and at that point, like I didn't get it, so I was like, I'll check in the morning, I guess. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. You know, it was pretty bad. But
so mine is pretty quick, even though I think that first day was the most painful for me. That first day, well, yeah, the first of 2 days. Oh my gosh. By the way, Jack Frost, no, I will not be going to New York, but we will talk about New York shortly, I'm sure. So I was there first because my job, I pretty much, unless somebody needs me at my office, I'm at my office, and it's weird. The Wi-Fi is great for work Wi-Fi, but my phone Wi-Fi is garbage because it's like guest Wi-Fi, and my normal internet signal is garbage. And I remember as the day progressed, I kept using more screens and more things for it because I got in that loop of waiting in line or constantly getting the Wario image from hell that we've all seen if you tried to get it. And I'm pretty savvy at getting limited things. I bought every game from Limited Run Games back when everything was not pre-order. So, like, when there was an item that was like, hey, man, we got 250 of these, I knew the tricks. I knew the ins and outs. So, like, it's not like I'm not, like, the type who's ready. My credit card was there. My info was in. Like, there's nothing that the buyer could have done to make that experience better. It was legitimately all on Nintendo. Their servers were not ready. And, like, what I think is interesting, like, Mac, you mentioned they weren't expecting that many fans, If it sold out fast, I would have understood that. But the fact that it took so many hours for it to sell out literally just shows me they were just fucked. Like, they were just so not expect. Like, their website was designed for 100 people to buy N64 controllers, apparently. So, like, it was just so frustrating. And, like, honestly, doing it wasn't that hard as much as, like, I hated doing it. By the way, even while driving home from the office, I still was doing it on my laptop. Like, I had, like, the laptop next to me F5ing, like, as I was driving home. So, I was in full-on, like, goblin mode trying to get this thing, and I tried every sideways track, like, wish list trick, like, everything I could to try and get it to work, and it was just one of those things of, it just never happened. And, like, the only thing that I really think, outside of obviously the site being fucked, that I'm really mad at Nintendo for, is they almost never updated us. The updates were hours apart. Like, I finally gave up, I think, when they tweeted at like 6 or 7 p.m. that night, and they were like, we'll try again another day. See you guys. It didn't even say when, didn't even do whatever. Like, that was so, like, I felt so defeated. I was like, I've literally wasted an entire day doing this. Like, it was such a, I felt so stupid for it. I had nothing to show, and it was such defeatist attitude, too, because it was like, you know Nintendo stuff is hard, but I legitimately, and I'm a pretty big collector, I can't think of anything that has ever been this hard to get from Nintendo in my entire life. Can you guys think of anything else Nintendo has given away or sold or offered that has been this much of a clusterfuck?
Not in recent memory.
Yeah, I can't think of anything, honestly.
So, skip ahead to, what was it, late June was round 2? Like, I think they waited like 2 or 3 weeks?
Late June, early July.
It was not
more like about a month.
No. It wasn't early July. It was late June, because remember, it was 2 days after the Xenoblade 3 Direct.
Yes.
So, it was late June, and again, we were warned the night before. Didn't say what time it would be in the morning, and I had to work. And listen, guys, this is a safe space, and I know no one from my work actually will get this far enough into a podcast. I definitely worked from home just to get this. I took a working from home day. Like, I am not chancing it. I had 5 monitors up eventually, like an iPad, 2 phones, and 2 different laptops just to try and get this thing. And I was the first of us to get it, or hold on, was I the first one, or was Elcrest the first one?
I think it was you.
Okay. Because what was fucked up was, remember, we all thought Nintendo took like 2.5 weeks to put this back up. Clearly they will have made some changes. They will have made an improvement. They will have made things more streamlined. If anything, I feel like it was more confusing the second time than the first. Like, remember how many times we kept getting it in our carts, and then we can't check out. It won't let me check out. Like, so, like, I feel like we each have our own little, like, horror stories, but, like, mine, thankfully, wasn't, like, it took many hours, but, like, I think after 5 hours, I got it at around, like, 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and it just randomly worked on the one that had been waiting on the, hey, you're in queue line the longest, and I had initially gotten into the cart first. I remember, actually, I got into the cart within, like, the first 20 minutes, but then what happened was I was stuck and it wouldn't let me pay, or it wouldn't let me verify my address, and I was just pulling my hair out, just being like, what's wrong? Am I the problem? Is it like my... Because, like, you just don't know. Like, and we'll get to it with Max and stuff. Like, they just had these errors happening and no feedback. And their Twitter was actually worse that day than the first day of not letting...
They didn't say anything!
The whole day. It was
It was actually kind of ass.
It was so bad, dude. And it was just like, how do you fumble it worse the second time? But I thankfully got it, although I then kept trying not only for, like, my other friends and stuff, because I had another friend who was out of the country trying to get it. But such a mess. I'm glad I got it, but, like, on my end, it was like, if you told me what did I do to get it, I wouldn't even know what to tell you. It was just that much like of a disaster. Like Ringo, like for you, because it happened after we had all finally gotten off the call. Like, how did you finally end up getting it? Because I feel like you made the least amount of traction. Like, I feel like you were like waiting forever.
Yeah, like I kept having the problem where it was like, oh, it's in my cart, but it's actually not, and it's there, but it's not, and but look, it's there, it's not though. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then, you know, I just kept fucking mashing my face against that keyboard, and it took fucking, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5 hours or whatever, and then just suddenly it worked. It showed up in my cart. You gotta be kidding me! I pressed the button. Like there was a point where like for 40 minutes it was in my cart and it just would not let me press the button. And it was like, yeah, it's already out of stock. Go fuck yourself. Really? We're playing this game, and then just out of nowhere, I just kept mashing that button, and then it was like, all right, we're good, and then everything just worked. I was just like, you know, I'll take it. Stopped asking questions. I got it, and I was like, that's the end of that. It's just, I don't know what the I again, like you said, I couldn't tell you what the fuck I did. Literally couldn't tell you. Everything just started to work, and it really shouldn't have, but it should have the whole time, but it didn't. And then the time it should have worked, it shouldn't have. But you know, whatever.
Yeah,
it happened, right?
Well, and now for the
it was like. Nightmare.
Now for the one who had the most pulling their nuts out reverse story, Mac. What was your second attempt day like?
I got it in the cart. I got to the cart screen. I hit checkout. I verified my address. I put my card in. I did everything, and then I sit there for like 5 hours. Trying to process the damn payment, and it never goes through. Never goes through. It just sits there, unable to process the damn payment. I kept getting an error message saying it couldn't process the payment. I was doing some Googling. Nothing. And then eventually, I hit it, and then it doesn't give me an error. It just kind of like stops. And then, oh, cool. Cool. It's sold out. I didn't get it because their freaking website didn't work.
I did want to say, just on my end, I completely forgot that at one point I fucked up and accidentally, like, while I was just like mashing between, you know, put it in my cart and like it so that I can get back to the page so I can try and purchase it. I accidentally hit remove from cart, and that like set me back like 2 hours. That shit sucked. I was like, no. But eventually, again, like I said, it just worked somehow. Fortunately.
So,
you know, maybe I stole Max.
Yeah, that seems logical. I think by fairness, you'll just have to give him your copy when you finally get it.
Yeah, you will. You do. You have to give it to me right now.
Yeah. But right. Like the thing with Mac, because like I was literally even signed in as you, even trying it at a certain point of just like. It made no sense why your card wouldn't work. Like, at all.
It just couldn't process the payment.
And it wasn't like you were the only one. There were so many people who were like, my card is not getting accepted. Like, why? Why would my card... And then the weird one for me, when I tried to buy a second one, logged in as someone else, but using my card that worked the first time would not work the second time, and it gave me the same error that you got. So it was just this weird thing of just like their store, like whatever they used for their storefront was just not ready for this at all.
No, it was just an utter disaster. And then the salt in the wound is people started contacting the My Nintendo Store support people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's sold out." And as things stand right now, there's no plan to do anything or like restock it or anything. It's just gone. I am incredibly. This is the most I have been upset at Nintendo for such a massive fuck up. in a long time. This is I was so pissed at Nintendo because this is all like you literally had like a month extra time to prepare for this, and it was no better. It was just as bad, if not worse, because you didn't say anything. Nah, it was awful.
So
yeah, it was a shit show all around, honestly.
Well,
so I just went and ordered a copy from Best Buy.
That's actually not true, Ringo. It was only a shit show for NOA. Europe, Australia, Japan, flawless experiences of just waking up, logging in, buying my game, alright, and I'll see you later. Absolute, like, absurdity, like, on Nintendo's front of just, like, how... And I mean, like, obviously Nintendo of America actually has had the least experience with stores. But, like, I mean, with their online store of actually selling physical products. Because normally Nintendo's online, like, selling stuff had pretty much just been selling refurbished systems and then maybe selling you some Club Nintendo stuff. Like, this was their first ever collector's edition only they've ever done before. And, man, like, I hope, like, honestly, I never want them to do this again. Like, it was that thing, too, because I remember going back to Bayonetta, the first thought when they announced the Bayonetta 3 Collector's Edition was, oh god, please tell me it's not only on the Nintendo store. Which, by the way, did both of you guys get your Bayonetta Collector's Edition pre-ordered?
So I didn't, but I wasn't as concerned about it. It was more like, if I get the chance, then I would like to, but...
yeah.
It is still in. It is still in
that
stock.
One I will say was entirely on me.
It is still
I was just too slow.
Well, Nintendo, the in-store pre-orders at least are still available for Bayonetta at GameStop. So next time you're at a GameStop, you still have that.
Oh, in-store.
In-store still has
Yeah,
it.
that's why
Because I saw it on GameStop's website that it wasn't a thing.
Website sold out, but in-store stock is still, obviously, if you had like 900 fans go to your store, then maybe there. But yeah, I would say whatever one's closest, give it a call. But yeah, all the store ones I've asked about have all still had it.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll probably run by.
But
I'll run by on my way to work tomorrow then, because I just haven't gone to in-store because I thought it was sold out because it was sold out online.
Yeah, thankfully, also the nice thing with it is it's also just $5, so it's not that thing where you have to, like, because it is a collector's edition, like put like 20 or 15 or whatever. So it's very like low input needed. But back to Xenoblade, though, the thing with 3, I do want to say, there is a tiny bit of hope, but again, there is also another FU potentially there. Other countries, including Japan and Europe, are now selling just the collector's edition items at various different times. So they will be selling the art book, the box, and the steel book without the game later in the fall. I'm assuming basically they saw what a disaster this was for some people, and were just like, hey, if we're producing these after we sold the game, we're probably going to be left over with a bunch of boxes that don't have games and stuff, so why not just sell them to people who might want them later down the line? So, at the very least, I hope they eventually announce that for today. What was it, like, literally just today, like right before we started the podcast, Mac? So, NOA has taken the listing off for the special edition?
We were just sitting here and you were setting up the stream, and I thought, you know what, one last check, and I just pulled up, and I actually have it. I have the link to the page bookmarked. That's how desperate I was.
That's how broken of a man you are now.
But I had it bookmarked, and I clicked on it, and it gave me Wario, and I was like, oh, that's different. So then I looked, and I just went to the normal My Nintendo Store page, and then I looked it up. It's gone. The listing's just straight up gone.
So you killed it. You specifically, Mac, killed it.
I said before we got started, I think that's a good sign, because I feel like you wouldn't just remove that link unless you were planning on selling something that was going to confuse it. And I think if you're selling the collector's edition or just the items, I think you would obviously just get rid of the sold out collector's edition, and then hopefully they'll put that out sometime like in August or September for order. And hopefully that's not like, Mac, I'll say this. I'll be so sad if they do this, it's still just as much of a disaster as it was for the actual game. Because I'm like, come on, dude. Like third time's the charm. But, like, it just sucks because, like, every other country's made this so easy, but because Nintendo of Europe and Australia and like Japan, they don't ship internationally, like because they don't offer international shipping, it is just such a pain in the butt for something you think shouldn't be that hard of like, I just want an art book and a steelbook. Like, I'm not like, it's not like this is some like $10,000 Final Fantasy like amazing statue they can never print again. Like, this doesn't seem like something that should be as hard as it is to get a hold of, right?
No, it really, this seems like something that I should be able to just go to the website and buy it. You guys want to know something funny, actually? I just remembered this. The Xenoblade 2 Special Edition, I initially wasn't going to get it because I don't know. I honestly don't even remember, actually. But I initially wasn't going to get it, and then at some point I was like, screw it, I'll get it. And then all I did was like, okay, I went to Now in Stock, and I just kept an eye on it, and eventually it came back in stock at Best Buy, and I bought it. And it was like 2 weeks before the game came out. So even then, it was like long past sold. It was long past like the initial sellout, but I was still able to get it. It was still fairly easy. It just took me like a week of just checking back a few times a day.
Oh, I bet you're glad you bought that though. Now look at how much that costs. I'm so shocked how much that costs now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Another thing that's really frustrating is that I have every special edition for every Xenoblade game except 3. So that just
I mean, this won't make you feel any better, but you still don't have the European one from Definitive Edition 1.
Yeah.
I will say that is like.
I mean, I guess me and you are the same.
Well, most people
Mac,
didn't import that because, like I said, you had to have someone from Europe literally ship that to you. So like, there was no easy way to like import that without getting fucked over, like in terms of like eBay shipping. But
well, what I mean is like Mac has all the special editions for all the Xenoblade games except for 3, and I have all of them except for 2.
Interesting.
I just didn't.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we talked about that
like,
last time.
Trade.
Yeah.
We should like trade.
I don't know if I care about 2 enough.
Ooh, hold
like,
on. So wait, does that mean both of you have, or which one? Like, who here has and does not have the Xenoblade X Special Edition?
Right
I
here.
have it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I pulled all those out recently as I've been unpacking stuff because I'm trying to rearrange how my shelves are being used because I want to have more space for manga and art books, and like honestly, half of my I had an entire shelf just dedicated to like Disney Infinity figures and PS4 games, and like I love my massive PS4 game collection, but if I'm not playing like 200 games, I could use those for like actual like more like beneficial like space. Like I would enjoy having books displayed more than a bunch of empty PS4 cases, you know? So I've been pulling out a lot of stuff, and I will say I pulled out the Xenoblade 2 Special Edition. God bless. That was a nightmare of a day to get because I bought that on launch. I'm not sure if I had said this one on server before, but I somehow found a way to get Target to sell me a unpreordered on launch day Xenoblade 2 Special Edition, and they price matched Amazon, who randomly had them on sale for $80 as opposed to $100. So like,
that's fucking hella nice.
Well, it was a huge pain in the butt to get to have happen because like I basically like because they kept thinking I was making up this listing because like, it was back like many years ago. So like price matching was a little bit more iffy, especially with Amazon. So they only wanted to let like Amazon if it was by Amazon directly, and it was one of those weird ones where Amazon was sold out of it, but was still selling it for that price. So it was that thing of like having to like basically like just hope that I could break some like manager that day just to like give it to me. Like I would have bought it at full price, but it was like, man, if you could like save $20 on a collector's edition, like you've got to at least try, you know.
You gotta try. You always gotta try.
So final thing about the special edition I want to say is we are now, like I said, we're recording this on the 27th. We're 2 days out before launch. And Ringo, any update? Has Nintendo still not shipped out your order?
Nope.
So, copies, like we said, leaked last week, are all over the place if you wanted to buy one. And Nintendo literally is out here waiting to the last minute to ship our standard edition copies, and it is so frustrating just because it's like, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It's frustrating because it's like anyone could just buy the game at a store and will not have any issues on Friday. But then the people who had to suffer the most to get the special edition are probably going to get it late, if not like next week, because their shipping speed is estimated.
This is payback.
Oh, what?
This is payback.
Well, it's payback, but it's also like a bit of an FU because the shipping speed is 4 to 9 days.
No. I mean, this is payback from me to you.
Oh, that is true. That is true. But then, like, I'm also being fair at the same point where, like, I am... or, like, I'm glad it's at least shipping before launch, but in all honesty, I probably won't even touch it till I finish 2, because I've really wanted to finish that replay of 2 in Torna, and especially now that I'm reviewing 2 other games, I still don't even have Live Alive, I still don't even have Digimon. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, honestly, I'm not in a rush to beat it right away, it'll just be nice to kind of get it, so, like, I'm kind of fine with that. But I was wondering, like, so Ringo, for you, how do you feel that most likely you will not have the game on Friday from Nintendo? Like, are you pissed? Are you like, whatever, at least I got it?
I don't know if it's just me being weird, but, like, I was pissed for a hot second, and then I was just like, I'll play it when I play it. You know? Like... here's how I'll say this, right? I'll be pissed if I get spoiled before I play.
True. That's a good point.
That's when I will be mad.
Like, for me, especially one of the other reasons I'm not, like, that hurried to want to play it is, like, even though we've only known about this game for 5 months, like, it's been a long time coming for, like, this to actually happen, and, like, I kind of want to sit on it. Like, I don't want to rush it. Like, I want to review it eventually for, like, my channel and stuff, but, like, since, like, I'm not really, like, abide to, like, from a review code or anything, it's kind of nice to just, I want to go at this at my own pace, enjoy it, not really feel like I have to rush it and just kind of play it in my free time like that. But, like, I was wondering, like, for you two, like, are you going to be playing it, like, okay, hurry to the end, or, like, kind of wait and see?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, for me, it's just like, I have this weird thing where it's like, if you say something's coming out that I'm really excited for within a couple of weeks, then I'm like, oh shit, nonstop hype, let's fucking go. The longer you give me to wait for something, the less interested I will become about it over time until it releases. I don't know if that's weird.
Oh no, that's actually a pretty normal phenomenon. Right? That's like I refer to that as Minions 2 syndrome. As most of you guys know, Minions 2 was supposed to come out in 2020, but it's been done and delayed for like 2 years. So me, as the true Minions fan here, I'm like, no. You made me wait for 2 years. I'm not even going to go see Minions 2. You made me wait too long. You should have released it before Morbius, and it would have been a lot funnier. But now it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, it's not like I'm not excited for the game. I am, right? Like, I'm going to absolutely, like, as soon as I get my hands on it, I'm going to shred through it. No, I'm not going to shred through it, but, you know.
I want you to know, as soon as you said shred through it, I imagine you're skateboarding around in your party.
Oh, I was just going to, like, open up my hands and reveal that I have werewolf claws and literally just shred through the case, destroying it instantly.
I had a weird thought about this.
Destroy the special edition, not even worry about it.
Oh, no.
Remains to Mac.
Here's a weird question. Has any of you guys ever thought about this? Because I was thinking about this since I've been replaying the older games, and especially because I went and actually messed around with some of Xenoblade X while I was moving, just mostly to see if my Wii U even still worked. Man, I miss having a run button in this game. Like, it's weird that they added a run button for one game and they never used it again.
I really want Xenoblade X too.
Yeah,
dude.
you know what they said? They said in the thing, They said like, oh, really like this is the end of this trilogy, but not the end of the Xenoblade series as a whole. I really hope that means X2.
Give me X on Switch too.
I almost feel like I don't know if I would want X2, but I definitely would want X Definitive Edition. Like I'm, and I don't mean like I don't want X2, like I don't want a sequel to that world, but I almost like wonder like how do you do X2 in a current Monolith kind of setup? Whereas like I wonder if fans could go from Xenoblade 1, 2, 3 to X2. Like that's why I kind of feel like we gotta do Definitive Edition before we do 2.
Obviously, if you're gonna do X2, you have to get X on the Switch first. Like,
I'm gonna say this. If we do not get an X Definitive Edition or something, 3 is gonna be the last Xenoblade game on base Switch.
Oh, definitely. Honestly, at this point, I'm honestly gonna be surprised if one more comes out. Like. It is genuinely amazing to, like, think about this. In the last... Like, seriously, think about this. In North America, in 10 years, we have gotten Xenoblade 1, 3D, Definitive Edition, 2, Torna, and 3 by the same developer. Which is insane.
Where's X?
Oh, sorry, and X.
Bitch.
My bad.
You're missing... the best one. What?
Oh, I said 3D. I said Xenoblade 3D.
No. Yeah, no, he said it.
But yeah, so like it is one of those things where like genuinely, and I hope one of the Nintendo questions get into this in their interviews of like, it is insane how much they can pump these games out at such a high level of quality compared to every other game developer. Like, not even Nintendo can get games out this fast. And of this high of quality.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, my question, do we know if, we know that, for Xenoblade 2, I forget to say it, like, I'm not sure which game it was, right, but during the development of Breath of the Wild, a lot of Monolith staff were pinched and thrown onto Breath of the Wild. Has that been happening for Breath of the Wild 2 as well?
Yeah, there is staff. There is Monolith staff who are working on Breath of the Wild 2.
But it's not to the same degree, like where Xenoblade 2 only had 40 core staff members working on it, and the rest of it had to be outsourced. It's not like that, but no, absolutely, like there are absolutely people.
The way I've had it actually described to me, the way I've had it described is basically, what was it? The way I've had it talked about with me in the past was their work was done before 3 was done, and then like because really all Monolith did was the world design and build. Like they're not like designing the dungeons and stuff. They're designing the open world and helping Nintendo in that aspect. So Monolith's work with Breath of the Wild 2 has been done since before 3 was done. Because I remember they were talking about at one point the team got bigger and that's why development went along faster because they finished up their work with Breath of the Wild 2.
Gotcha.
So, excited about that. Although I will say, now that we're in our first post-Xenoblade 2 and Breath of the Wild world, is it out of the realm of possibility that there's a Breath of the Wild crossover item in Xenoblade 3?
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Noah's outfit like how.
No. So instead of Xenoblade and Breath of the Wild, a Breath of the Wild item in Xenoblade.
Oh, you mean the other way around?
Yep.
Maybe there wouldn't be as much to gain out of it though.
I can't wait for like we go to the challenge dungeon and Link's there.
You know what's fucked up? I was actually thinking one of the secret heroes would just be Link. Like he's just someone you could recruit.
That would be actually fucking incredible.
I mean, you've got to imagine, especially because the way the season pass has the image from all 3 blades, you've got to imagine that the one of the DLCs are gonna have to include like Shulk or Rex or Pyra and Mithra as like party members.
Give me Malos as a party
So-
member.
Malice would be wild as a party member, especially if he's voiced.
They have teased for the DLC. They've teased that the first hero to be added. Like they showed a silhouette of them, and there are some people theorizing, if not confident, that it is a Poppy, and the only reason why people think it's Poppy is because there are these like design elements where, like, you know how Pyra had like the scarf thing that came down to her sides. There's something similar to that in the silhouette, and people are like, OMG, it's probably Poppy, because Poppy was designed the further and further she got to like QT Pie. She looked like more and more like Pyra, which was very much on purpose because, you know, Tora idolizes Rex and all that.
Yeah.
And I think that I see it, I can understand, but I don't think I don't think this character necessarily is going to be Poppy just because it has a similar design element. Because, I mean, I highly doubt, what's her name? One of the heroes in the base game, the green-haired cat lady archer. She has the exact same pants as Rex, but I doubt they're going to be connected in any fashion whatsoever. So I don't necessarily think design choice is going to mean it's Poppy, or even Pyra if you want to go that far. I doubt it's Pyra, but yeah.
Would it? So, like, which form of Poppy? Like, do you think? Did they say? Was it just
A new
base
form.
Poppy or like an
New form.
new port? Okay, I'll know who.
New form. Because it wouldn't make sense for it to be any of the
whole new Porpy.
No, it wouldn't make sense. The silhouette looks nothing like any of the previous Poppy forms, so it had to be a new one.
I got one more DLC question. I'm curious for both of you, because we've kind of talked about how 3 is sort of the culmination for these 3 games. I'm in a weird camp where actually for the DLC expansion pass, like the story content, I actually don't think I want it to involve the cast of 3. I would almost, or like, sorry, let me rephrase this. I don't want it to involve the cast of 3 in a level like how Torna did, where it's either a prequel or different characters. Like, I would almost kind of appreciate like a expanded version of Future Connected, where instead of filling in plot holes, it sets up what the next trilogy could be.
I would honestly prefer it to be like if you took the idea of Shulk, Fiora, and Elma from the 2 like battle arena part and made that, you know, like have the cast of 3 actually go on a quick side adventure with previous Xeno characters.
It's their in-game
more
moment.
than I would say I want something like Future Connected or Torna.
I get that. Mac, what about
Maybe
you?
I'm weird with it.
I really don't know what I want it to be. I just really don't know. I wouldn't be as keen about a prequel. I feel like I would rather just something else. I would like it if it's just like a complete side adventure.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that some people have also noticed and pointed out is that in the image for the DLC, they include Noah's sword, they include Pyra's sword, and then they don't include the Monado, they include the Monado Rex. Which, why would they include that version? Like, if this was some like non-canon thing or whatever, why not include the Monado? Because the Monado is actually Shulk's iconic weapon. So there's some people theorizing that the fact that they used Rex, it could mean that whatever this story is would be like canon, and it could deal with like Shulk and Rex and them. I do not want there to be an outright crossover. I think that would lean too much into the really cringy like fan fiction tier Xenoblade 3 pitches I saw people make back after 2 came out, where they were like, oh, Xenoblade 3 should be about like Shulk and Rex and all of them. They team up and like meet each other and they explore this new world. And it like I would hate that. I would hate that. But I think it could, whatever it is, it could be something that like does involve Shulk just to a degree in which he uses the replica EX.
So
I don't know.
Interesting little note, by the way, really quick about
like, would you be opposed?
Well, hold on, real quick. I want to say this about the Monado because there was an interesting thing. Speaking of the design, interesting to note. Not only is it the Monado from Future Connected in the image, it's also the Monado you can unlock in the game or use the amiibo to get. That's not that. That is the OG Monado. So it almost
Monado.
Yeah. So it almost kind of makes me think of like it would have made more sense in that image for them just to use the one that's already there in the game, because it's not like we're going to have like all the different forms most likely. By the way, also a little heads up, because we didn't talk about this because this was kind of in the direct and most people probably missed it. If you don't have the Shulk amiibo, you can still get the Monado, but you just have to beat the game first. Mm-hmm. By the way, remember when
I think that's the right way to do amiibo content like that.
True.
Yeah.
I will say this: I was so certain. I was so certain they were going to reprint it. We have not heard anything, and the game comes out in 2 days, so I don't think a Shulk amiibo reprint is happening, unless maybe it was too early, and we'll see it in September. But like the price of Shulk amiibos have gone up so much. He's like over $112 right now. It's insane.
Oh man, I'm super. I have him literally right next to me on my desk.
Give him a little dust off and then kiss him.
Oh, I did that earlier.
That's why That's why you muted yourself at the beginning of the show. That's what you did. You gave him a really wet, sloppy kiss, and that was why. Yeah. But yeah. So Ringo, please keep going. I just needed to say that about the Monado before we moved on.
So let me ask, now that you brought it up. So if you use the Shulk amiibo, you actually get like a skin of the Monado for the Noah?
It's not a skin. It's an actual like weapon for when he's using the class. Like I think it is a specific thing. It's not just a cosmetic look.
Interesting.
Well, okay. I mean, it'll ultimately probably be cosmetic.
I'm assuming like it would be kind of. To me,
it's a level 99 sword. You just blow through everything. That's how we get those people with the 20-hour speed runs of Xenoblade 3.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we want to go back to this conversation, but Mac, I was just gonna ask earlier. So as you were saying, like, and I kind of agreed with you. It's like I don't want like an adventure where it's like Noah and Rex and Shulk go up and do some.
They team up and have an adventure of their own.
Malos, Jin, Zanza, and whatever Fart Brains McGee is this time. I don't want that, and I think you and I don't want that.
Yeah, no. That to me reeks of a lack of creativity. Yeah. And just giving in to fan demand, and it's like fans don't know what they want.
But that's not it. Yeah. But say, would you be opposed to something like how Xenoblade 2 did it with like the Shulk and the Elma stuff?
Oh, if it's like the challenge mode, I don't care. I'm all for it at that point. Challenge mode to me is basically non-canon.
Mm-hmm. It's
in that level of like, well, the fact that anyone but Shulk can wield the Monado at all is already out of canon. But even if you were to take just the story cutscenes, they are so far removed from everything else that they may as well. They're just non-canon. They don't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, like if you say extended that out into beyond a challenge mode, like a little short adventure, but like it was like minimal. In terms of like, I don't know how to explain it really, but like if you just had like something like, I don't know, like a Future Connected sized little campaign, just with having the extra characters stop by or whatever, that'd be too much. If it was execution, obviously, but if
it was something like the Napon Arc Sage, if it was like he brings them together to go on this adventure, I'd be fine with it. Because the second the Napon Arc Sage gets introduced in anything, I'm just like, okay, this is non-canon. Because the Napon Arc Sage breaks a million.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. So it can't. It's like you could say it's canon, but it's like it may as well not be. But I feel like it had to be under the context of the Napon Arc Sage.
Yeah, like no matter what, it would come down to at the end of the day. Like if they're going to do that kind of thing, it depends on how the execution actually ends up. Like because that makes or breaks anything, really, right?
Yeah.
But I think if they did, if they went under like the Napon Arc Sage and did some fun little adventure, or like like a brief little adventure and like challenge mode stuff, like that's the kind of DLC I'm looking for, rather than something like a Future Connected or like. Because to me, I want a whole complete game when I buy the game. As much as I like Torna and I like Future Connected, right? Future Connected gets a pass for me because it's extra. It was always supposed to be extra, but it's like Torna, you really feel that it was supposed to be in the game.
Yeah, because
especially after having seen, I still haven't seen it, right? But like I get what it's about, and I know I've heard like fantastic things about the story. And it's like this is, and even developers have said like this was planned originally to be Chapter 7, and then they just expanded it.
I think there was even at one point where they said that the plot of Torna was actually what was originally conceptualized for this plot of 2. And then they decided, actually, let's make a bigger story, and this will just be one aspect of it.
Yeah.
So Torna was always kind of at the core of 2 in a lot of ways, but it just didn't make it into the base game.
And so like, as much as I love 2, there's that piece missing from the base game. Right. Obviously we have it, and obviously it's great. I wouldn't know. I haven't played it. I haven't played it. But that's the thing. When I buy a game, like, I want it to be complete. That's why I love 1 so much. It's like it's a fully self-contained, fantastic adventure.
Yeah.
It's why I enjoy, and it's hard to say the same. There's plenty of reasons why I like 1 and why I like X, but also like for a big thing, it's like X leaves you on a cliffhanger, and it's like I love it. I love that game, but like leaving on a cliffhanger that we haven't had any resolution to in 7 years feels a little rough. It's just
it's rough.
I'm fine with the way it ended. I'm fine if we never get an answer, because it was just like that's part of what it is, right? But there's just that lingering feeling where it's like, is this actually complete, or what's going on?
No, they did say that the original plot, what we got of X, was only like a fraction of the actual narrative they wrote.
Oh my god, I know, because they worked on it. Like, it was funny, like, actually back then, remember, X felt like a long dev time from announcement to release. Like, it felt like we really knew about that for a long time, and so it's so funny to think, like, X had the most development time of any other Xenoblade game, which is insane.
Yeah, no, it was, it took them 5 years because they spent most of that time making the engine and trying to future-proof it, and it's lasted them all the way up until now, with Xenoblade 3. But the original plot, what we ended up getting in the final game was like a fraction of what was intended, and that's because when they actually started working on it, they decided more and more like, no, we want to focus more on the gameplay, and the story didn't become like an afterthought, but rather they just kept thinking like, no, this is not where our intention should go. This is not where our focus should go. So they just kept narrowing it down more and more and more, and that's why a lot of people ended up being disappointed with it.
I have a weird, dumb, fake fan question about X, and it could just be my brain isn't remembering it because it's been so long. Was there a reason it was called X? I forget if there was anything plot-wise that actually made the X important.
No.
That's what I thought, because
the
like
main the avatar's name is Cross.
Yeah, that's
it.
That's as deep as it goes. Because there were some games.
Cool as fuck.
Now, after all this conversation, I hope you guys know we've just willed into existence. We're gonna find out the expansion packs for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is just going to be called Adventures of Old LA, and all of our brains are gonna be melted. That's what's gonna happen.
You know what? I start that Xenoblade recap video by saying that X is completely unrelated. As of right now, it's completely unrelated. I want 3. Well, I want 3 to connect with X just because I want. It
would be such a. It would like 3 connecting to X is not necessary. But if it did, it would be that moment like when you finally saw the Guardians of the Galaxy with Iron Man and Doctor Strange of like, what the fuck? Like, you knew they were in the same world, but it was like, they're never really gonna meet. Like, it's like that. It's so weird, but it would like give you such good serotonin.
Well, anyway, I want it to be X in there because I want anything X, but also it would be nice because then everyone in the comments of the video who are like, no, actually it is connected, or people who insist that X is connected because, there's similar imagery in 2, they can shut the fuck up.
Did you know that the Jaguar class clearly means it's connected? Didn't you know the Jaguar class means it's canon? It's canon. Mac, you get the best YouTube comments. They're not the same event.
They just look similar because the entire damn Xeno series is just repeated attempts at the exact same story. So there's going to be similar imagery.
Mac, you get the world's best YouTube comments. You know that?
No, I will say I've enjoyed looking through those comments every couple of days because obviously there's a lot of people who are very supportive and it's being very, very well received. But there occasionally are like a comment that is either hilarious, weirdly like hostile, that's like in a funny way, or there's people who are like complaining, saying that I got something wrong, which and then what they explain is wrong is like, that's not, no, you're wrong. And then also there's occasionally comments where like there's this one dude I'm looking at who commented a day ago literally with just the word what.
So I will say I love so much of the Xenoblade fandom, but there is definitely small subcircles that make me question what the fuck they're thinking. Like, did you see that tweet today, you guys, of someone screen capped the IGN review and went, lol, IGN can't review Xenoblade right to save their lives. And I'm like, I watched that review for IGN, like, I listened to that review of IGN and I read it and stuff, and I was like, that was probably their best, like, Xenoblade review. I mean, obviously, different people reviewed each title, but it's like, bro, like, this is, like, the most favorable they've been, like, since the original one on Wii. Like, what were people expecting?
The IGN review is glowing, frankly. I was expecting higher than an 8 based on what they were describing.
I mean, they had to just do not a 7 at least. They had like the last 2 months of big releases, they literally kept doing everything was a 7. So it was like, that was like their big thing. But like, yeah, like at a certain point, it's like, yeah, like it's fine to meme on like Definitive Edition getting lower and like the Duncan and like Rain or whatever. But like,
that's another thing people keep commenting is that I said things wrong, and then when I ask, it's like, oh, you said 2 words wrong. I feel like this. It's like, oh, I said Mikhail instead of Mikhail, and I said Tantal instead of Tantal.
Well, as you know, the Xenoblade series has very simple dum-dum names. Everyone has very easy names, and they're very easy to pronounce.
No, the Xenoblade fan base is like weird. Like they're weirdly obsessed with pronunciations. I'm confident because of that IGN.
Well, you know what? Just because you've said that, I'm gonna make our final poll tonight. How do you say Ricky? And I'll try and take this out. But while I do you guys want to catch up with our YouTube chat comment questions before we get out of here?
Sure. That sounds about good.
Okay, so our first one, more of a comment, but I had to at least say this. Molten Sky Iron said, praying Xenoblade X2 is the next big game for Monolith makes. Honestly, it feels right, but I also wouldn't be... Honestly, at this point, unless 3, I think, sells like more than 2 or 3 million, I also wouldn't be surprised if they want to try something different, like another franchise. But we'll start off with an easy one. Kane Senpai says, which game has the best soundtrack? So let's say 1x3, 1, X2, and Torna are all separate.
Yeah, it's obviously 3. It's the best. You know, I've listened to the entire soundtrack already. It's pretty great.
Did you hear that Duel of Fates song? There's a whole. They just ripped off the entirety of Duel of Fates. It was really interesting.
Yeah. I really like the part. I really like that one part where it goes. With the pipe.
I'm just letting you say this however you want. I'll let you dig that hole as much as you want. So serious answers though. Best soundtrack, not including 3. Like, what comes to mind for you guys?
So 1 to me has some of the most iconic tracks in the series, but especially while working on the recap video, going back and like choosing music, I'd forgotten just how many like utterly beautiful tracks there are in 2. So while more of 1's soundtracks are memorable to me, I feel like 2 probably is actually the better soundtrack overall. I just don't remember it as much as 1.
Okay.
So,
and then Torna is fantastic because it's ragtime.
Let's get yours. Let's see what is yours?
So it's tough because I don't even mean this as a meme. I swear I could like recite every track from X. Like, I don't even know if X is the best. I literally just think it is the most memorable. It's like one of the most memorable and unique soundtracks I've ever heard. Like, I really unironically still love listening to Xenoblade Chronicles X's soundtrack. Like, it's weirdly it's weirdly catchy. It's so unique. It somehow fits the alien world and all the different like kind of tones that world goes into. Like, I really love it because like with Xenoblade 1, I think Xenoblade 1 has some of the highest highs, but there's also a lot of tracks in Xenoblade 1 that are like, you're fine. Yeah. You're like, it's totally serviceable.
There's also some tracks that are like genuinely I hate listening, either because of the context in which they're played. Like
I hope you're not talking about the Ricky Hero song. You better
No, I love that song.
Okay,
I'm
good.
talking about like when you're in gameplay and you're in a battle, and then it changes music to because like you change the future, so it changes to that song. Or oh no, everyone's tension is super low, so now you play a bad song.
I bet at the time
the Tower song.
I bet at the time they thought they mixed that really well, and by like 2022 standards, it is extremely jarring because remember. Like, another great one is changing the future will change the song, but another one is when you're in the flow, you know how that will also change the music?
Mm-hmm.
Is when you then get out of the flow and then get back into the flow, it just starts each one of those songs over back to back. And so, like, when you're doing higher level bosses that might, like, end up, like, almost one-shotting you and stuff, you're just constantly hearing the first, like, 15 seconds of 3 different songs, and it's like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I gotta say, for me though, like, I thought I was gonna be the odd man out. I thought you were gonna choose like 1 or 2, because X is mine.
Hey man, great minds think alike.
I honestly love X's soundtrack. Like, don't get me wrong, 1 has incredible bangers. Like, you know, Xantha is one of my favorite soundtracks in just anything ever. You know, obviously, You Will Know Our Names and An Obstacle in Our Path are just some of the best battle musics in, you know, Satoral Marsh, Valley Mountain at Night, Gower Plains. Absolutely phenomenal from 1. 2 has a lot of really good ones, Rimming the Waste, Gormott, all that kind of stuff, right? But just on the whole, I don't know if it's just the way that I experienced X, but everything, when I think Xenoblade, I honestly think of X first. It was my introduction to the series, really. But just for me, it's like Black Tar and Uncontrollable are just so fucking good. I listen to that shit so much. I just love how Black Tar is like 8 songs in one.
Oh my god. Well, like I was wondering, do you think we could ever get Hiroyuki to actually come back for 2? Because like I'm gonna be real, I don't think you can do 2 without the same OST. Like that would be too jarring.
No,
I think they would need to get him back, which
that'll be expensive.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but he's absolutely, even more so than back then, he has grown in popularity.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, just think about it in terms of time. We went from Attack on Titan Season 1 to the final season Part 3. That's how much time has passed.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Kill la Kill soundtrack.
Real quick.
First.
I always forget he did do Kill la Kill, didn't he? I usually think of him for AOT and Mobile Suit Gundam more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Me, it's Kill la Kill and Xenoblade X.
Well, before we move away from music and audio, well, first off, want to make sure, are you guys good? Nothing else to say about the audio?
What's your favorite?
I at least want to say, because I didn't pick 2, but as I am playing through 2 has, I forgot how many bangers 2 has in terms of actual instrumentation. Like, because like I was talking to Gnarly about this recently, and he was like, what are like actual RPGs with rock soundtracks? And I was like, definitely Xenoblade 2. Like, Xenoblade 2 has so many actual like guitar riffed fucking banger songs that I just totally forgot about.
Yeah, no, there's some really good stuff in there.
Like, there's the one where it's like the dire situation. I think it might be the unique monster theme, or when you're in a dire situation and you start coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like that song with the fucking it just riffs with a really good guitar solo. And I
got to at least say this because I did not know this, and I don't know if he's ever done another One Piece thing before. Because I'm looking at his like composer list. Did you guys know that Hiroyuki is doing the soundtrack to One Piece Red? That makes me even more excited for that fucking movie. I had no idea he was doing the soundtrack. That is wild.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, this will be interesting. Well, you guys have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Okay.
I got
nothing for you, Ringo?
Nope.
I got another question for us. I don't assume this one will be that much longer. Oh, you had something?
Shut up.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to end the audio on this.
Oh, okay.
Idiot.
Okay.
So I actually while we were talking about audio, I remembered something. You guys remember how in Xenoblade X and 2 just had the best audio mixing and character voice lines were constantly getting drowned out by music?
I was just about to say you better be fucking sarcastic because I literally just a couple days ago when I was playing 2, I had to look up threads of like, am I fucking crazy? I forgot how bad the audio mixing is in 2. I was like, what is happening?
Awful.
What is happening?
It's awful. Well, anyway, while you guys were talking, I just went and messaged my contact. Let's just say,
well, your dealer
should not take. It doesn't take a lot to figure out who the hell I'm talking about.
George
but I
W.
just messaged
Bush.
them, and I was like, hey, I have a question for you, if you don't mind me asking. It's a minor question, but I could just wait, but why not? If you can. And they were like, sure. And I was like, hey, how's the audio mixing? Apparently, it's like way better.
You would hope,
just by default, it's way better than 2 and X.
You should have been like, hey, I have a question if you don't mind me asking. And they're like, yeah, sure, what is it? And you think you can take me?
Think you can
don't take me?
Oh, you just know that's in 3. You just know that's in 3 somewhere.
So hope that comes back. I loved those guys. I absolutely fucking loved those guys.
Did you guys know one of Noah's catchphrases before battle starts, as a reference to Xenoblade 2, he actually says, "I'll show you a thing or four."
Oh damn!
If
And
they
then
make a Xenoblade,
And then in Xenoblade 4, they say it's number 5.
What? That would be legitimately the weirdliest, most meta thing. Because like in my brain, I remember at the time hearing like that stupid line over and over and over of like, I always thought Rex says, "I'll show you a thing or three," because this was Xenoblade 3 at the time. That's like in my brain how I rationalized it.
No.
Narp. Well,
I gotta say though, if they ever make an X2, they gotta put in the voice who did "Think You Could Take Me."
Oh,
and Don't
definitely.
Forget Me
Oh,
as one of the
definitely,
voice
definitely.
options. Dude, I would 100% choose that.
I'll tell you right now, if Xenoblade X2 does not have a create a character, you've already failed. Like, you've got to keep that in.
Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure the guy who did that voice was actually the voice director for 2.
Please.
That definitely
I'm pretty
wasn't.
sure it was the voice
So
director.
that actually definitely isn't true because I know who the voice director was on that. Because unlike every other Xenoblade game, Xenoblade X was done by 8.4. So Nintendo of Europe normally did every other Xenoblade game. They've done 1, 2, and 3. But 8.4, because Nintendo was busy, 8.4 was in charge of all the VO and stuff.
I know. I'm talking about the voice director for 2 was Podrag.
Gotcha. I thought
what I'm saying.
I thought you were saying the VO director from X was that voice. I was like, no, that's not that person.
No.
But yeah, so
anyway, next question.
Next question by Urameshi Trev. By the way, if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to drop them. Is by Urameshi Trev saying, favorite character from either 1 or 2, and who are you looking forward to most in 3?
Ryan and Morag.
Ryan's
and
great.
Don't know any of the characters in 3.
I mean, you know no one. Like, there are, like, I would at least imagine you know the main 6.
Noah.
Damn. Mac, what about you?
I would say my favorite in 1 is probably Shulk. I just think he's a great character. And then runner-up is Melia. Then in 2, it would probably be... I do actually really like Zeke. I think he and Pandoria are great.
They're phenomenal characters, but Morag just takes the cake.
Morag's cool too. And then when it comes to 3, I'm interested in Noah, but I'd say I'm actually kind of more interested in Mio and Uni.
Is Mio the Nia girl?
Yes. Because I want to know why does she look exactly like Nia?
Well, remember, like she's from a race of people who all look like cats.
Yes, but her name like
it is very similar. It's very yeah. There's a lot of things that are similar to it. I'll give you that for sure. So for me, 1 is tough because honestly, I don't hate anyone from 1. 1 for me might be Metalface. Not even because he's like my favorite character, he is just so iconic, even though he's like not even the main bad. Number 2,
It's like...
Oh, yeah, what?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What were you gonna say? Because I was done with the Metalface thing.
He's the kind of he's like the he's not the main bad, but he's pretty much.
There's a reason he's in the Smash Brothers stage.
The bad guy of the game that everyone thinks of. It's like, you know.
Hmm. I mean, like, if you own a copy of Smash Ultimate or Smash 4, you deserve yourself to go to the Smash Brothers sound stage and go through all of Metalface's tracks, because I guarantee you've never heard them all. Like, there are so many lines they did just for that one stage. It is absolutely insane. With 2, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, but man, especially as my replay has gone on, it is not a great performance, but it is so charming. I genuinely really like Rex. Like, Rex is such a unique sounding and, like, acting goofball for me. Like, I just really have a lot of, like, I appreciate him as a character so much more than I know I probably should. And for 3, honestly, it's a tough one because I've been really spoiler-free. Like, I don't even know most of these characters' motivations. I want to give at least a shout-out to Taeyeon. I think Taeyeon has such a sweet design. Like, from the scarf to the paper doll thing, like, and everything else. Like, I'm very excited for everybody, but out of the main 6, I think he looks the most interesting visually, at least.
I gotta say, shout-outs to Poppy. Poppy is a fucking phenomenal character. Specifically,
Poppy's also great. You know, I'm changing my answer. Poppy's my favorite character. From
Sorry, it was actually locked in. You're not able to anymore.
Oh damn! Okay, I'm cool with Zeke.
I Make Funny Robots had a great line that Mac. I'd be curious what you and Ringo also think of this. What would you guys do at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 3? The credits roll and the words "Episode 4 End" came up. What do you do?
I would freak out because that would just be even more. That'd be even more. They're just doing it again, and I get really excited.
Yeah,
because it actually could work this time. They might be able to.
Dude, is it like sad? Because like I feel like we've had those like obviously we didn't know each other back then, but like I feel like I was having these conversations about 2 tying into Xenogear. I mean Xenoblade, Xeno Saga back with 2 coming out, and then like I'm like we're just perpetually going to just like keep thinking about this until it either happens.
So episode 4 End is a Xenosaga thing.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed it was, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, because there was no 4.
Yeah, and not only that, but at the end of Xenogears, it says Episode 5.
Oh my god!
It's revealed that the game is actually titled Xenogears Episode 5.
I know.
It would just repeatedly. It's repeatedly. They're just trying to tell this same damn story over and over again, and they keep getting cut off.
At least they finally found a company who will at least keep giving them money to make it happen. I at least appreciate that.
It could actually genuinely work this time.
Urameshi Trev did give a shout out. I don't agree with this, but it's definitely up there. Malos is the funniest Xenoblade villain. I don't know if I would say funniest, but definitely Malos is up there. Like has so many quotable lines.
The better villains.
He's 100% one of my favorite villains in Xenoblade, simply because when Orpheon shows up, or Ophion, I keep getting Orpheon from Metroid and Ophion from Blade mixed up. But there's the part where they're at the Cliffs of Morpha. I think it was like when Malos and his team shows up there first, and they are trying to forcefully get Ophion to be on their side or whatever, and like Ophion tries to attack him, and he's like, it looks like it's time for reprogramming, and he just fucking hooks Ophion in the jaw, and I fucking love it.
I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, if you told me Malos was just a rejected character from Metal Gear Rising, I would believe you.
Indeed.
By the way, shout out to 8th Arc, not only for the $5 super chat, thank you so much. Just said no comment, just wanted to say thanks to you guys, but also did have a couple of good lines. The thing 8th Arc wanted to say about 1, 2, and X is, about the good music, is that it seems to be really front-loaded. That I can definitely agree. I think a lot of those series' most memorable tracks are definitely earlier on in the game, outside of like maybe the credits theme. A lot of the earlier tracks are great, whereas the late game stuff is more niche compared to like what you like. You don't see a lot of like top 5 tracks, including stuff like the Mechanical Valley and stuff. You know.
Well, like that's weird for me because it's like Xantha, which is the final boss theme, is really late in the game, or like for me in 2, Tantal is my favorite Titans theme. It's so good, like by a landslide. It's Tantal's theme, which shows up pretty darn late.
Excuse me, it's Tantal. I had a bunch of people.
I have a lot of YouTube comments to back this up, sir.
Here's the thing, right? Make them comment. That's engagement on your video. Farm that shit for views, dude.
Molten Sky brings up a good track I forgot about.
Just never learn. And they'll always keep commenting.
How to neg your comment in your community 101 over here, everybody. Molten Sky, thank you for reminding me. The world tree theme is fucking relaxing tunes 101. That's a great song from 2.
Oh, hold on. Yeah. On the opposite end though, Tephra Cave. Is it Tephra Cave? or is it the Ether Mines, where it's just like fucking low tone.
I think that was just the Ether Mines, yeah, because Tetra Cave I feel like was more memorable, at least when I was playing.
And Bionis Interior also kind of sucked.
Bionis Interior to me always felt like they designed that music for your first trip and they never thought they'd ever have to go back there. So when you do go back to the Bionis Interior, it's like, oh fuck, you're spending more time here than I thought you would. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Also,
you had to fight friggin' the worst boss ever. Ugh.
Well, yeah.
Bionis Interior
sucked. You know what?
Good about it.
I'll avoid talking about mommy issues of the boss, but 8th Arc brings up a great point. Has anyone here? Well, I know Ringo didn't, but I thought you might be a little interested in talking about the Digital Foundry video. Mac, did you watch this?
Yes.
So I'm very excited how much that this engine has changed, because like honestly, I feel like they could have just kind of kept it as what... Because, like, I feel like when we saw it in 2, it felt like, okay, this is clearly a little unpolished, and, like, and even patches showed us, hey, there were things they could have tightened up. Definitive Edition did a lot of nice work, but obviously that was more of a remake/reimagining. Well, not reimagining, more of a remaster, remake, in a different engine. Whereas, like, 3... when I'm looking at the gameplay, it's like when I'm looking at X. Because, like, when you looked at X, because obviously that engine was made for X, you felt that they, like, poured a lot of time and effort into making that thing fucking run and look as good as it possibly could. And I get that vibe from 3, and, like, the fact of, like, it looks like it's the highest resolution we've gotten from any of these Switch games. It's got the most consistent frame rate out of any of them. Like, it's so many good signs of, like, whatever technical wizardry is going on over at, like, Monolith, like, they really need, like, a shout-out for, like, how good 3, performance-wise, has apparently been through the review process. But, like, for you guys, do you have anything, like, is there something you've seen of 3 you kind of want to give them a shout out in terms of what you've seen, or anything you're still a little bit worried about? Like, stuff we don't necessarily know. I'd be curious what some load times are, especially with how big the sizes are now of the world. But, like, are there any things kind of, like, outlined that are maybe either, like, things you'd want to comment on or a little bit, like, iffy on still?
You know, it's been so long since I've seen the trailer, and been so long since I've seen anything really Xenoblade 3 related that I can't really say off the top of my head. I remember liking what I saw. I thought it was, like, the best of both art styles from 1 and 2. But
I get that.
I'm maybe not the person to speak on this.
That's okay. Mac, what about you?
I really don't think I have anything.
I mean, if you're not one to watch if you're not one to watch, like, a Digital Foundry video and enjoy pixel counting, I know it's definitely not from everybody. Also, Robert Merriam, thank you so much for fucking reminding me that Porter from fucking Thomas and Friends is tied to Xenoblade.
That's incredible.
It's the same voice actor of Malice is Porter from Thomas the Tank Engine, and when you look at them next to each other, it is a disturbing similarity in looks.
That's actually hilarious.
That's basically it for questions and stuff, and we're basically right at the 2-hour mark. Bad latency. They seem to have really rolled up their own software-based AI upscaling into the engine. That is so true. Like even if you're not super much into, like, either frame rate or performance, when the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer was coming out and people were like, hey, why does this look so much better than 1? Because Breath of the Wild 1 definitely was pushing the Switch hard. You can now see with Xenoblade out, they're like, okay, this is where, like, Monolith really was helping out with them of, like, 3 looks leagues better than 2. Like weirdly better, and it is still on that same engine. So, like, seriously, like, super shout out to, like, the tricks and stuff that they've really learned with that. Like, I would be surprised, like, kind of going back to what we said at the beginning, I will be genuinely shocked if we got another game on this hardware that's going to look even better than this. But, that is it, everybody. It's 2 hours of Xenoblade talk. Thank you for chatting with us live. Whether you hung out, watched the weird porn spam bot. Ringo and Mac, I wanted to thank.
That was fucking wild that showed up just out of nowhere.
It happens like every time you ever stream on YouTube. That's why Mac had to run to Twitch. His mom kept calling him and said, "Mac,
it's not that much better.
Mac, I don't like all these porn bots." And he said, "Mom, I'll go to Twitch just for you. I'll make my audience sit through 6 ads. That's how much I love you, Mom." Thank you. Have you guys ever gotten that the 6 ad bump on Twitch? I had that happen
I've had 8. I've had 9 ads on Twitch, and it's just like I want to end myself whenever that happens. Like,
nothing makes me want to leave an app more than 9 ads back to back to back. But
it's
Mac,
oh
yeah,
it's just the worst.
Why? It's weird. There's definitely a reason I don't use Twitch that much unless I'm watching. Pogo on Mac's stream.
If the streamer's smart, they give you the chance to fix that shit if you just roll enough pre-ads.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll enough ads during your shit or whatever, you can avoid that. But it's still garbage.
I'll say this though, if you're one of those partners who use it mid-stream, mid-conversation, literally please stop. That's the worst. I get it, you want people to be subscribed and stuff, but yeah, when it's that many ads back to back, it just makes me want to jump off a cliff. But unfortunately, Mac, I have bad news for you. The results are in. 72% say it's Ricky, and 27% say Riki.
72% of you are wrong.
Would you like me to check the authenticity of this vote, please?
Nah, it's okay.
That's okay.
I'll be honest. Even though the AC is set to 69 degrees, nice. It's 78 in my apartment, and I am dying.
Do you have bad AC?
Lie on my bed next to my. No, it's just that hot.
Damn, what's the outside temperature?
It's just because you're in the room, Mac. Don't worry about it.
Well, I am going to go lie down on my bed. With my fan just blasting on me.
Mac is
going to die.
Mac has to still work off that fucking. I think what did he eat? A 3 foot long fucking sausage earlier for dinner tonight. He had the world's longest hot dog entered his body and is yet to leave.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it wasn't that it was the longest. It was that it was so extra. I went to a sport.
It had some girth to it.
I was a girthy dog.
Just to explain to everyone else, I went to dinner with my dad, and we went to a sports bar. At this sports bar, they had a foot-long hot dog, and I was like, you know what? I haven't had a hot dog in a long time. I'm gonna get a hot dog. So I got it. I was expecting, because it was a foot long, and it was at a sports bar, I was thinking, okay, so it's gonna be long, but it's probably going to be more than, what you would get at the state fair or something. It's going to be, have more to it. What I got was, gourmet. It was like a gourmet hot dog. It was... Not only was it just massive, it was more than just, okay, the wiener is long. It's also... The bun is massive. There's a bunch of shit on it. It was... huge. It was utterly huge. And I couldn't finish it. It was too much. I had to use a fork and a knife.
Damn.
I've never had to do that for a hot dog.
This just in, wiener's too big for Mac.
Yeah, man, that entire review you gave is filled with many good clippable quotes. So thank you for that. Bad latency says sounds like a fun night.
Actually, funnily enough, Mac, while you had a hot dog for the first time in your life, not for the first time in your life, for the first time in a long while, right? I also had hot dogs tonight.
No joke, I haven't had dinner yet. I might eat hot dogs just after this conversation.
Fuck it, complete the trifecta.
I have a friend named Zach who straight up has never had a hot dog.
That's weird. That's hold on. Is he a vegetarian though?
No.
Then it's weird.
He also never had a strawberry.
Come on.
By the way, I want you to know, just while you were doing your little rant, Mac, I finally switched out the music and we're ending the episode with Black Tar playing in the background. talking
Yeah,
about
the best way to end it.
this.
I need a bigger gun.
All right, well, everybody,
Is there anyone there?
we will see you later. I don't know when our next episode will be. I feel like unless we all collectively come to a good point in the middle of our playthrough, I feel like the next one of these will probably be after we all play the game. I'm not sure if it'll be a spoiler cast or at least like a discussion, but I definitely do want to kind of touch base because I am curious of like, no, definitely not next week. Definitely not. Hey, Mac, you got any JRPGs you're playing right now? Got a couple? You juggling those?
Oh yeah, I got one. It's called Live Alive. That's the one.
Live Alive?
That's
Live
the
Alive?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about right now. You know, that relates to what Spencer just asked me. That's the one that's, you know, it's taken up a lot of my time.
And Digimon.
So,
don't forget Digimon, everybody.
I feel so bad for Digimon.
Digimon hype has been building, actually. Digimon was trending the last 2 days. Like, I'm feeling like Digimon's going to be in a good spot.
Oh, I know. It's just that in terms of like the general conversation.
True. The general.
it's getting completely overshadowed.
It'll have its own niches and stuff for it for sure. But I'm staying optimistic.
It's gonna sell to its fan base, but I don't know if it'll sell beyond that.
I think it'll have legs if it's good. Because it's such an interesting concept. I think it'll be a good one that people are gonna be like word of mouth will help it a lot for. And I've noticed, interestingly enough, Bandai has really been leaning into promoting it. They don't even say which consoles it's on. A big thing for them is on all consoles. Because, yeah, it's like, even though it's on Switch, it's like, really lean into the fact that this is for everyone else. Because obviously Switch is drowning in RPGs right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be back from either the next 2 or 19 months from now to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So hopefully you guys are all picking it up or going to play it eventually, or maybe you randomly stumbled across this live stream and will be playing Xenoblade Chronicles X on your Wii U tonight just like a cool kid. But we wanted to end the episode at least by a moment of silence for El Crest, who's still out there looking for cassette number 2 for Titanic on VHS. So, we miss you, buddy.
I saw it at a Goodwill the other day.
You know what? Honestly, the next time, like, if that happens, just send that picture to them. No context, just said, thought of you. Just thinking of you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Alright, well, say goodbye, everybody. We gotta get the hell out of here. I gotta eat some hot dogs. Goodbye.
Go play Tales of Symphonia, everybody. Do it.
So, Mac, now that we're